You are 27 when the war begins. It does not begin with explosions outside your window. It begins quietly, with alerts that feel almost routine. A notification, a delayed train, a message from your manager saying the office will close early until further notice. You are still an employee at a respected technology company. You spend your days optimizing systems, solving problems, improving efficiency. You believe in progress. You believe that crises belong to history books. The morning before everything changes, you are thinking about a presentation scheduled for next week. You are thinking about rent. You are thinking about whether you should start exercising more consistently. Your life is ordinary, stable, predictable. That stability is what makes what comes next so disorienting. The broadcasts intensify. Financial markets freeze. Borders close. Flights are suspended indefinitely. Highways fill with vehicles trying to leave the city. People speak in urgent whispers. Some disappear within hours. Apartments empty. Offices shut down. Your phone fills with messages asking what you are going to do. You do not have an answer. You stand on your balcony at night and watch distant flashes on the horizon. You tell yourself, negotiations will succeed. You tell yourself, this is temporary. You tell yourself, you are not the kind of person who runs. When the official letter arrives weeks later, it feels less like a surprise and more like confirmation. You read it carefully. You feel fear. But beneath the fear, there is a quiet, stubborn sense of responsibility. You could leave. You consider it. You imagine a different city, a different life. But something inside you refuses the idea of escape. You decide to wait. You decide to report. The intake center is bright and impersonal. You stand in line with strangers who look like you did a month ago. Civilians with careers, with routines, with unfinished plans. The transformation begins immediately. Hair is cut. Clothing is replaced. Personal items are cataloged and stored. You are issued equipment heavier than it looks and told it will soon feel natural. Training is fast, compressed, efficient. There is no time for reflection. You are taught procedures, not philosophy. Movement patterns, communication codes, target identification, risk assessment. You sleep in short intervals. You wake up alert. You learn to respond before thinking. You tell yourself you are still the same person. You tell yourself this is temporary adaptation. When you are deployed forward, the front line is not constant chaos. It is waiting. Long stretches of silence where tension builds invisibly. You learn that anticipation is more exhausting than action. The first time you hear incoming fire, your body reacts before your mind understands. You move. You follow commands. You secure position. When the noise fades, you realize your hands are shaking. Later, they stop shaking. Not because you are braver, because you are adjusting. Days blur together. You stop counting them. Time reorganizes itself around events. Before the patrol, after the operation. Before the loss, after the silence. You begin to notice subtle changes. The first is efficiency. You calculate distances automatically. You identify exits without trying. You evaluate threats without hesitation. It feels like competence. It feels like growth. Then you notice something else. You do not react emotionally the way you used to. A nearby explosion sends debris into the air and you focus only on trajectory. A building collapses and you assess structural stability instead of shock. You tell yourself, this is professionalism. You tell yourself, this is maturity. But deep down, you understand that something softer inside you is receding. Messages from home continue. You respond with short, reassuring sentences. I'm fine. It's manageable. Don't worry. You are not lying. You are functioning. You lose people in your unit. The losses are processed quickly because they have to be. You attend brief ceremonies that feel compressed, efficient, necessary. You do not cry, not because you feel nothing, but because there is no space for it. Emotion interrupts reaction time. Reaction time keeps you alive. You adapt again. Months pass. The environment becomes familiar. Ruins become landmarks. Silence becomes suspicious. You find that you prefer the clarity of noise. Noise demands action. Silence demands thought. Thought is heavier. You begin anticipating conflict instead of fearing it. You plan ahead. You simulate outcomes. You speak less. You sleep lightly. One evening, you catch your reflection in the dark surface of your visor. Your expression is steady. Too steady. You search for hesitation. You search for the person who once overthought minor decisions. You do not find him. Operations blur together. Dust in the air. The rhythm of coordinated movement. The weight of equipment against your shoulders. You notice that you are no longer startled by sudden change. You absorb it. You integrate it. You become reliable under pressure. Others depend on you because you remain calm. Calm becomes your defining trait. But calm in this environment is not peace. It is compression. It is containment. Then, unexpectedly, the tempo shifts. Negotiations succeed where force did not. Orders change. Stand down. Hold position. Prepare for extraction. The silence that follows feels unfamiliar. You wait for another command that does not come. The war does not end with a dramatic moment. It slows. It dissolves. It transitions into briefings and redeployments. You board transport with the same body that left months ago. But internally, you understand that continuity is an illusion. Returning home is disorienting. The city is intact. Cafes are open. Traffic flows normally. People argue about minor inconveniences. You walk through familiar streets that feel slightly unreal. Your apartment looks smaller than you remember. You sit at your desk and open your computer. The screen glows. Emails wait. You respond automatically. Your hands move across the keyboard with the same mechanical precision you developed in the field. At night, sleep is shallow. Not because of nightmares, because your mind remains alert. You assess sounds. You track movement. You wake at small disturbances. You try to reconnect. Conversations feel distant, like listening through glass. When people ask what it was like, you offer simplified answers. It was intense. It was complicated. You do not explain adaptation. You do not explain the quiet transformation. You realize something unsettling. The war has ended publicly, but privately, it reorganized you. You scan rooms automatically. You choose seats facing entrances. You calculate risk without intention. You are not afraid. You are prepared. Weeks pass. You resume work. You attend meetings. You drink coffee in the same cafe you used to visit. One morning, you notice your hand trembling slightly as you lift the cup. Not from fear, from accumulated tension that never fully released. You look at your reflection in a window and recognize your face, but not your internal landscape. You were a good person before. You believe you still are, but you also understand that you became something more functional, more controlled, less reactive. The world calls it recovery. Reconstruction, a return to normal. For others, it becomes history. For you, it becomes structure. The systems you once optimized at work now feel simpler than the system you built inside yourself to survive. You adapted because adaptation was necessary. You became efficient because inefficiency was dangerous. Now, the danger is gone, but efficiency remains. You wonder if it will ever fade. One early morning, you stand on a rooftop overlooking the peaceful skyline. The sun rises slowly. The city moves gently beneath you. You take a deep breath. The air is calm. You understand something quietly permanent. You did not run. You waited. You served. You endured. The war ended. But the version of you that learned how to operate inside it does not switch off. You are home. The streets are familiar. The future is open again. And yet, you know with steady clarity that the person who lived here before the sirens began will never fully return. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to see more stories like this.